If you're making $200,000 a year, saving $20,000 or 10% of your income is not going to save you in retirement or beyond, right? You're not saving enough money. Hello and welcome back to the Wealth Equation Podcast. I'm your host, Maurice Wilson, engineer turned financial advisor. Thank you for joining me again. And today I want to talk about three things that keep high income earners broke. Now, high income earners, for the context of this conversation, are going to be pretty much anybody making 150,000 or more. These are people that have good jobs that may be lawyers, doctors, engineers, financial advisors, business owners, usually people who've been in their careers for a certain length of time and are starting to enjoy the fruits of their labor. One thing that I typically tell clients is income hides problems, right? So you got a good income and life is good. You're reading headlines about egg prices, you're hearing about home prices being high. But if you're being compensated properly, a lot of those things are in reach for you. So your reality is just a little bit different. It's just the way it is. One of the first things that I find that high income earners do wrong that keeps them broke is simply they're not saving enough money. And one of the reasons they aren't saving enough money is they're basing their life on other people's savings goals, other people's lifestyles. What I mean is, most of the world or the American economy, the American give and take about finances is not centered around high income earners. It's centered around firmly middle class or very wealthy. And that high income earner is sitting there in no man's land. And for one of the reasons is people think you make a lot of money, you aren't rich, but you make a lot of money, so you're okay. Yeah, two income household making say 300,000 a year. You guys are fine. You guys are fine, but really they aren't. And so what happens is because they aren't fine and they aren't doing certain things like saving enough money, then they find themselves later in life broke. And what do we mean by broke? They aren't broke like they're going to be on the street, but they're broke in the sense of they're going to end life with not enough money saved, invested, and working for them. So one of the ways to avoid being broke, and one of the ways that they do go broke, is that they don't save enough money. And the reason they don't is they're using 401k plans or 403bs or thrift savings plans or 457 plans, whatever the alphabet soup is. They're using those plans as the barometer by which they should be saving. And what I mean is, if you're making $200,000 a year, saving $20,000 or 10% of your income is not going to save you in retirement or beyond, right? You're not saving enough money. Yes, your employer may be giving a match. Maybe they're matching up to the first 5,000 you put in. That's nice. 25,000 a year, making 200,000 a year is not going to save you enough money. And so they have to start saving more money. And you can't go off the 401k plan. 401k plans have nothing to do with building wealth in terms of the amount they allow you to save. These plans used to have limits as low as 5,000 a year, right? Nobody would think saving 5,000 a year is going to make you rich or allow you to retire, even adjusted for inflation. So these plan limits, whether they're 403b, 457, 401k, they're all set based on the tax trade-off that the government wants to have. How much money can we let people defer in taxes? How much money can we let people deduct from their income and not crash the national budget and let them save some money for retirement? It's not based on your individual situation. And so a lot of clients are just people in general. When you log in, you're going to see if you're at Fidelity, if you're at Vanguard, they'll have that little, hey, you need to have this much saved to earn this much per month, but you're down here, right? Even that calculator is wrong. But it shows you it's wrong because they don't know your entire financial situation. They don't know if you're going to sell your house. They don't know if you have a business. They don't know if you have three other 401k plans. So even the 401k plan calculators that people see when they log in are inaccurate for their situation. So there's no way a large US government agency, the IRS, can set, or the DOL, Department of Labor, can set 401k limits appropriately for your situation. It's more than likely if you're making more than the average American, you are not saving enough if you're just saving what's in your 401k plan. So, one of the number one reasons why people with high incomes go broke is they're saving money based on somebody else's agenda, basically the government's agenda. And I am pro government, but usually it's hard for government to look out for you properly when they want to look out for you. You never know when they're trying to do things to not look out for you, because the government's got to look out for itself. Case in point, when Social Security was first established, they set the Social Security age 1 year past the average life expectancy of a US citizen at the time. Number one reason, saving in 401k plans is not enough, and most high income earners are saving purely based on how much they can save in a 401k plan. Now, reason number two, and everybody knows this, the number two reason why high income earners eventually go broke is lifestyle creep. Look, when you start making a lot more money, and it's worse if you start making a lot more money immediately. When you start making a lot of money, you just tend to waste a lot of money. Most people are not what I call super savers. And what a super saver is, this is a person that just throws money in the bank, throws money in the bank. They're never intending to spend it. The problem is we model our savings or our thrift around that person, this person who is, oh, I drive the car till the wheels fall off, or, oh, I always buy at a discount store. That person is wired differently than the average person. Most of us are not that person. Most of us, if you look at it in terms of diet and exercise, most of us are not going to the gym every day. Most of us are not eating properly, right? We're somewhere in the middle. We get up on January 1st and we resolve to do better. And then by February 1st, our resolutions are broken, and we're getting ready for spring break, and we're back in the gym to get our spring bodies, our summer bodies. We take off towards the end of the summer and then repeat and make resolutions again. We're somewhere in the middle of all of that. That's how most people are with their expenses and how they live their life. They tend to want to spend better. They want to do better by their money, but the result is usually some form of wastefulness that can get you into trouble. And the more money that you have coming in on the 1st and 15th, the more you are going to tend to waste. And so what most high income earners do is they say, okay, check. I put in my 20,500, or if you're over 50, my 30,500 or so into my 401k. Hey, my debt's not too high. I'm going to go out and spend this money. We're going to take these trips. We're going to have that extra car. We're going to redo this thing in the house. We're going to buy a bigger house. We're going to send our kids to better schools. We're going to send our kids to private school, private college, grad school, tutors, all of these attachments, these family vacations, because the moments can't pass. And then if you're the one that's making a lot of money, you're typically helping out other people in the family as well, because you're the guy or young lady with the money. You've got the good career. You're the doctor, the engineer, the CEO, the high ranking exec. And for my business owners out there, I see you. You're the successful business owner. You're doing good. You're being asked to do a lot. And so what happens is lifestyle creep. When I first got into business, typically a single person was spending 3,000 a month. If they were married, maybe 4 to 5,000 as a couple. And then what happens though today is people are spending like 8 and 9,000, these high income couples, right? And it's okay, your mortgage may be 3,000 and you may have a couple of cars totaling about 1,500, and maybe your utilities are 1,000 or so. Where's that other 5 to 6,000 going? Private school, helping out family, bigger and better homes, bigger and better trips, right? And that money's just going out the door, and it's lifestyle creep. And once you set up these building blocks of a bigger lifestyle, right? Now you're trapped in the image trap, right? You can't downsize your McMansion because you have an image to keep, right? You can't trade down on your cars because you have an image to keep. How will it impact your career if you're seen driving a lesser car? For my business owners out there who have to project success and fake it till you make it, now that you've made it, you can't you can't say I don't need to fake it anymore. Let me get back to a more sensible car because you got an image out there, right? So it's very difficult once you build this lifestyle to shrink it back down. And so by consequence, that's reason number two why high income earners go broke. They have a lifestyle that they simply that's simply sapping their ability to save money properly. Now, the third reason that high income earners go broke is they simply confuse income with wealth. So we do a weird thing in this country where we don't ask we want when we want to know how well you're doing financially. I'm going to speak on a couple of panels this year. I already know I'm speaking to some students. I already know they're going to ask me how much I make. I already know that because that's what I did. That's what we all did when we were students. When you put an adult in front of us, we want to know how much you're making, right? That's how we gauge success, right? The problem is income doesn't equal wealth. Income is a way to build wealth, but income is not wealth. It's not wealth. Even if you own your own business, you technically don't own the income. The customers own the income, right? If the customers choose not to pay you, you don't have a business for much longer. And if you have a great job and they decide to cut that job, you don't have a job for much longer. So no job, no customers, no business, no income, right? So income is not wealth. So what can your customers not take from you? What can your job not take from you? What you already have, the wealth that you already have, the money that's in the bank, the 401ks, the valuation of the business, if you will, the business assets, your home assets, those are things that you have, and that's your true wealth. The problem is if you're sitting out here making 150, 200, 300,000 as a household, 400, 500,000, right? You're in the top 5% of American households by income. It's hard to not look around and say, man, we're wealthy. On some level, we're wealthy. We're hearing things about inflation, but it's like we didn't even notice, right? We just go out and get what do we need? We just go out and buy. We're just swiping cards. We're selling. We're whatever. We're not affected by prices. And by consequence, you confuse that with wealth because let's face it, you can get in first class just like the multi-millionaire. They don't need millions to get in first class. They don't need you to be a millionaire to get into business class. You just simply have to pay the fare. Income removes that price barrier. So you can do a lot of things that wealthy people do until the music stops, until your customers fire you or your job gets rid of you, right? And then all you have then is what you save, right? So income being confused as wealth is one of the other reasons, the third reason why high income earners tend to go broke. So how can we fix this, right? What's the resolution? Because it's not what I'm sharing with you is not entirely novel and could really apply to pretty much anybody, but particularly applies to high income. So if you're a high income earner and you're watching this, what do you do? The first thing you do is you've got to establish a savings rate that is materially important to helping you build wealth. Let me say that differently. You got to establish a savings rate that's going to allow you to be rich, wealthy, or retire successfully, right? And so there's no magic number, right? Because everybody's situation is different, right? Everybody's situation is different. So what I would say is how you need to save money in a way that you're able to replace 1 year of your income as quickly as possible. If you save 1/4 of your income, let's stay out of the stock market like you're earning 8, 10, 12%. I just mean cold hard cash. If you're saving 1/4 of your income, then every 4 years, you're replacing 1 year of income. Typically, people have 30 prime earning years. So if you save 1/4 of your income every year, then you're going to save about 7 years of income, right? Now that's where the stock market comes in because 7 years of income won't equal a lifetime of not making income after age 60, 65, whenever you retire. So you take that 7 years of income that you save, put it in the market, right? And the market works its magic and grows it for you. But first, the market needs that raw capital. So if you're over here saving a fifth of your income, 20%, right? It sounds good, but you're replacing your income every 5 years. Now, over a 30-year career, you've only saved 6 years of income, right? If I walk up to somebody and say, how do you think you're saving? I'm doing pretty good. How many years of income have you saved? Well, I don't know. And if I ask them, do you think 6 years is enough? They're going to say no, right? 6 years means it simply equates to you saving a fifth of your income every year. So this is where you're saying, okay, Maurice, maybe if I save half my income a year, if you can do that, that's great. That means over a 30-year career, you save 15 years of income. If you can do that, unless you're out there burning cash as we speak, you're going to be fine. But most people can't save half their income. So you settle in somewhere between a fourth to half. Somewhere in there is probably a great place to be if you're a high income earner because you've got the bandwidth to do it, right? You've got the discretionary income to do it. So if you're looking to say, hey, how can I beat the savings trap, the savings delusion or illusion of a 401k plan saying, hey, saving 20,000 a year is enough, then look to replace your income as quickly as possible. The second thing, the lifestyle creep. Now, the easy answer is to say, just don't ever get into these big houses. Don't get your kids into these private schools, right? You got to take a look at the landscape. And I know this is a sensitive topic. People really believe in their kids' education. And for some people, you don't have a choice. You're in a certain city. The private schools are better, they're safer. I get it. But for a lot of people, the private school is a flex. Let's just be honest, right? It's a flex. And so make sure if you're making that flex, that you're thinking it all the way through. So when I look at private school, I look at, all right, once I've got my kid in, I can't pull them out at sixth grade, right? Their friends are there. My friends are there, right? And so what happened to Maurice and his kids? They couldn't afford private school, so they pulled out in sixth grade. That's not a story I want out there. That's not a story most of you want out there. So if you cannot start that cycle, try not to start that cycle. And that's the people who are looking at this podcast and you're making good money and your kids are in diapers. Try not to start that private school cycle unless you have to. Now, if you're in the private school cycle, if you're in the big house, I know you're not going to downsize. So let's talk about what else you can do. Try to avoid the splurge vacations. Try to avoid being a bank for your family, your extended family. Learn how to say no to yourself and to others and start to shrink that discretionary income that's just floating around out there. If you're a car person, go out and get your dream car and make that the last car you get for a while, right? You got to start making sure that you're saving enough money so that when the music stops on all of this, you're good to go. Okay. That you're good to go. And then the third thing is confusing income with wealth. How do we beat that, Maurice? Because I'm making 200, 300,000. You've got to start building real wealth. So you need to find a way to monetize the skill set that's allowing you to make all this money, right? You got to put your money in things that are going to allow you to, when the music stops, be okay. So there are three things you can do. We don't have to make this a mystery. You're either going to put it in real estate, you're going to put it in your own business, or you're going to put it in the stock market. Now, for most of you, your own business is a good option, but you're so busy in your career, you're not going to start your own business. You're also probably too busy to do real estate and you're probably too busy to do the stock market effectively. You've got to get you a person that knows this stuff, right? You've got to get you a shortcut, a guy or a young lady that knows real estate, knows opportunities, knows how to run a business with your backing, or knows how to put money in the market and make it work for you. That's what you need. You got to take advantage of these shortcuts because if you don't, then you're left to your own understanding, and you're busy making money. You're an ER surgeon, you are a hospital administrator, you are a hospital CEO, you're a corporate America executive. You're busy, you're in and out of planes, you're taking meetings. You don't have time to go out here and be an expert at all of these things. What you need is to establish a team of subject matter experts. And I can't say expert in my line of business, but for the other fields, I can. People who know these things and who have some type of record that you can check and get yourself tied to them. There are people that are out there for that. And the reason a lot of people don't have them is they don't spend the time to look for them, or they don't even know that they should be looking for them. Luckily, you're listening to this podcast and we're telling you should be looking for them. So when it's all said and done, how do you know as a high income person that you have reached the holy grail, if you will, of not going broke? I would say the answer to that is really simple. Once what you have, your real estate, your investments, I'm gonna stay away from business, your real estate portfolio and your stock market portfolio, your money in the bank, once it is collectively able to pay you your current salary, you are starting to be at the first rungs, lower rungs of comfortably saying, I'm not going to go broke. I don't want to say you're going to be wealthy yet. I don't want to say you're going to be rich. But if what you have in the bank, in the market, in your real estate investment portfolio, if it is now paying you 150, $200,000 a year, oh yeah, and that's your salary, or if you're making 300,000 a year, you're doing the right thing. We can't say if it's conclusively done because I don't know your situation, but you're probably starting to do the right things. And that's how you'll know that you're starting to protect yourself from going broke when the music stops on your career, because you are going to either get fired, let go, or retire from your job. Your business is probably going to suffer a setback or have to be sold. Something's going to happen. That's just life, right? If I say Kodak, people are like, what's Kodak? If I say Xerox, what's Xerox? Enron, what's Enron? Businesses come and go all the time, right? Jobs come and go all the time. What doesn't go is the wealth that you build, in your portfolio, in your real estate, in your business that you can control and begin to replace some of the fruits from your labor. My name is Maurice L. Wilson, engineer turned financial advisor. If you like content like this, please subscribe to the Wealth Equation podcast. We're on YouTube, we're on Podbean, we're on Google. Google doesn't have one. We're on an Apple podcast. You can find us there. You can also find us at wilsonwealth.com. Once again, this is Maurice L. Wilson, engineer turned financial advisor, helping you build wealth one equation at a time on the Wealth Equation podcast. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.